Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Kurt Leavins. Welcome, Kurt.
Never in doubt, David. Never in doubt.
You know, I always loved when Bruce said that because it was always, he said it very wryly.
Yes, so I know. Yeah.
After like an improbable Oilers comeback, he would give the never in doubt. But it wasn't a lunatic's never in doubt. It was the never in doubt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
With a slight head shake and occasionally an eye roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is pretty deadpan. He was pretty deadpan.
He was awesome.
Kurt, an astonishing hockey game.
Sure was. Highly entertaining.
In many ways, a painful game for much of it, but there's for there to be pleasure, there must be pain, I guess. Like it's we wouldn't know what pleasure feels like without the pain, and that's the life of a hockey fan: is the highs and the low. And man, we had a lot of misery in that game as the Caps looked like they were going to win it, but the Oilers came back, tied the game in the last minute, and won it in overtime. It was a game to remember. It was the most exciting game of the year. I think by far.
Oh yeah.
and it may have been the greatest game of Oilers defensemen's ever played. It's on the short list. I'll put it that way. And let's get right at it. Edmonton 6-5 win over the Washington Capitals. I'll quickly give you the grade A shots, which are kind of mind-blowing in and of themselves.
And then you've got to go first, Dave, for the good things. So.
All right. The Oilers had 29 grade A shots, Kurt. The Capitals had 19.
Wow.
In terms of 5 alarm shots, the Oilers had 15, and the Capitals had 11. This was as Kelly Harudi said, a 1980s game. I would call it a WHA game. Just wild hockey. No, it's not a WHA game because a WHA game would have had 7 fights.
And J.C. Tremblay and Pat Stapleton, yeah.
Kurt, I will go first. And I'm not like I don't have like I don't have that encyclopedic memory like of games played and what happened in each game like people like Bob Stauffer have and Bruce McCurdy used to have. Like they could remember, they could probably call up right now the other really great games by Oilers defensemen. I don't remember them. If you can actually remember the games in your mind, they all blur together for me. Coffey's great games. Chris Pronger had some great games.
Yeah. But
this was arguably, and we'll get to you. You can remind us of the other ones in a moment. This was arguably this is on the short list of the greatest games all time. Not only did Evan Bouchard keep dragging his team back into a game that looked like they were going to lose. He was on every goal, 3 goals and 3 assists. He scored 3 fantastic goals from the outside on great shots from the outside. On the tying goal, he made an incredible stop at the blue line to keep the puck in the Capitals' end and keep the offensive flurry going. That almost 2 minutes of constant attacking, and he kept that going. And put it over to McDavid, who put it over to Hyman, who scored. And on the winning goal, the overtime goal, he made 2 great plays. First, Draisaitl made a great play, popping the puck off the stick. It went high into the air, and Evan read the play well, batted it down with his hand. Sometimes he missed those at center ice, and there's a breakaway against the Oilers. This time he batted it down, and as he's falling, he manages to stretch that pass up the ice to McDavid, who goes in and scores. So just a series of dramatic plays from Bouchard. And perhaps to top it all off, he kept a clean sheet at even strength, by my reckoning. Even though there's 19 grade A shots against, he didn't make one mistake on a grade A shot against. Other players had some defensive struggles tonight, but he wasn't. He and Ekholm weren't 2 of them. His partner. It was like a perfect game from Bouchard. We stopped calling a 10 a perfect game because who has a perfect game? It just hardly ever happens.
And if you go back, exist,
I'm sure you'll find mistakes that Bouchard made here. But it's as close to a perfect game as I've seen as I can recall, an Oilers defenseman has played. It was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. And if ever Evan Bouchard's making a last bid to be on Team Canada, he
Stole my
certainly
line.
sent a message tonight. Is there any Capitals of no, the Capitals coaches and GMs, they're not involved in Team Canada. I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Anyway, Kurt.
Yeah, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. He was +5. He played 29-25. He had 8 shots on net. Those are the ones that hit the net that the goaltender, actually faced, as opposed to shot attempts. Yeah, he was just tremendous. And that play in overtime, apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently he is a phenomenal basketball player.
Yeah.
And you could kind of see it on that play because he went up and got the puck, and then being tripped on his way down, still had the agility to be able to headman that puck. Just a fabulous play. Certainly his best game as an Edmonton Oiler, and talk about being opportunistic. It was an NHL game number 400 that he did it. So how perfect is that? Was it his best game as an Edmonton Oiler? I think absolutely the answer is yes. Even though we've seen him fabulous in the playoffs the last 2 years, this was otherworldly. Was it the best game by an Oilers defenseman in history? Offensively, close, but if you go strictly by the numbers, not. I hate to be a spoiled sport on a night when he was just terrific.
That's okay. I said it was on the short list. I didn't say it because I can't remember, right?
Well, if you go back to the 14th of March, 1986, Paul Coffey against the Detroit Red Wings. 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It was the first Edmonton Oiler since then to have a 6-point game.
I'm not surprised that Coffey put up more points. He just did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he had more points per game than any defenseman in NHL history, except for Bobby Orr, right?
Yep.
And Bobby Orr is on a whole other plane of greatness compared to most other players, except for 1 or 2.
Yep.
So anyway, it was. Remember the hockey news? Did you get the Hockey Digest, Kurt?
Oh yeah, I got both.
Did you? Yeah, so did I. I think it was in Hockey Digest that there was a feature, the game I'll never forget, and they would interview a player about the game he would never forget. And I remember reading Camille Henry, his game he could never forget. He was a 1950s New York Rangers forward, I believe. Anyway, this is it for Evan Bouchard. He will never forget. How could you forget it? Like, it's like, wow, what a game.
And on Hockey Night in Canada.
On Hockey Night in Canada, in front of all his critics. Mm-hmm. He has several, Kurt.
Really? Hadn't heard that.
I know so many people who know so much about hockey who really doubt Evan Bouchard. Like, it's like people who really are smart about hockey. They just don't like his game. Well, and there's nothing I can do to persuade them, so I don't. Sometimes I try, but we have some, good discussions. But when he plays poorly, man, they're on it, and they don't like his game.
Well, I'm not going to tell you everything that's in my 9 Things column that's coming up tomorrow morning, but I can tell you that the number one thing is about Evan Bouchard. And it does address how some of those critics feel about his game, and of course encompasses the fantastic performance that we saw on display tonight.
There's just way more good than bad. There's incredible skill with the puck under high pressure at the blue line, constant high pressure at the blue line.
Well, that tying goal, right, is what a perfect example of that.
Yeah, exactly. Where he sprawls, and on the power play he was keeping the puck in all night. Man, he was just constantly making great plays all game long.
All that overshadows how good he was in the penalty kill tonight, right? It's just he had all of it. He was on his full talents were on full display for all to see.
You know, the thing about him being good at basketball, yeah, they asked his dad during the father's trip if Evan Bouchard wasn't a professional hockey player, what would he be? And
Mm.
his dad said a pro basketball player.
Oh, did he? Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I
Mm,
thought was funny.
mm.
And like I thought, wow, he's that good. But I've heard word is like of all the like at any sport, like whatever it is, the guy who's most likely to be the best, if not the best, on the Oilers is Bouchard. He just picks up any sport and he's
Yeah.
outstanding at it.
Well, I've heard he's just a tremendous golfer as well, like a really top-notch golfer. So,
Alrighty, Kurt. What's your good thing?
I've used this line before in columns and on podcasts before, but I thought it was particularly applicable tonight. The Edmonton Oilers' best players were better than the Washington Capitals' best players. At the end of the night, and I think you really saw it on the last shift of regulation when the Oilers tied it up. When you put the Oilers' best players on the ice at the height of their powers, it's damn hard to stop them. And all of Edmonton's best players had games tonight. Bouchard was the best, was first star and deserves it. But when you really think about it, Connor McDavid was not first star on a night when he had 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, was +5, and had 9 shots on net. And he was the second star. Leon Draisaitl, who had a few up and down moments, but they don't win this game without him tonight. He had 3 assists. And Zach Hyman, another guy who should be on Team Canada, scores the big goal from about 3 feet out, like so many of his goals, to send it to overtime. And then we just finished talking about all the numbers that Bouchard put up tonight. The Washington Capitals are an excellent NHL team, and they'll be a tough out for any club come playoff time. But they simply do not have the firepower to match up with the Edmonton Oilers. When the Oilers' top 5 players are going, they can't match them.
Correctamundo, Kurt. Did you have a question that you wanted to ask me? Before the podcast, you said you have a question. Is that coming later?
Oh, well, I can ask you now. I was going to ask you, what did you grade Evan Bouchard tonight?
Even before he had set up the overtime goal, I had him at a 10. So it was a 10. Like, I just think, yeah. If that's not a 10, if that's not a 10,
right?
What is? So
I would submit that defense is the hardest position at which to get a 10.
You know what, Kurt? I was thinking if I'd ever given a 10,
I haven't.
that. And well, I've been doing this since 2007-08, the game grades.
Yeah.
So and I just, Surrey had some great games. Ryan Whitney, when he first came here, had some great games.
Mm-hmm.
Pronger? Well, I didn't grade Pronger. He was gone by then. Like he left after 2006. Pronger probably would have had some 10s, right? In that 2005-06 season. Right. But yeah, Clefbaum and Larson, they were really good players, but they weren't like guys who would have a 10. And Nurse.
Yeah.
There's too much going on in Darnell Nurse's game usually.
As we'll talk about later on tonight. Yeah.
I think it's the first 10 I've ever given to a defenseman. So yeah, it's almost.
The reason I said I think defense is the hardest position to get it at, because even if you keep a perfectly clean sheet at your own end, if you don't get any points, well, you didn't contribute on offense, right? And you can have a 5-point night, but if you get beaten a couple times in your own end, that it's not a perfect night. It's really you can't win, right? So I think this is and speaking from an old defenseman, right? I might just be a wee bit jaded on that front. But yeah, no, it was good job giving him the 10, well deserved and well graded.
And I am an old defenseman right now, still playing old timers hockey. It is like the fundamental thing for any defenseman, I guess, is you don't want to have any goals against.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1 on your list. And then number 2 is if you can stop any grade A shots against, that's even better. Like then you've really done well. And then if you can put up some points,
If you can chip
each
in.
one's a kind of a bonus. Like, oh wow, you're really going well. But
Yeah.
6 points in one game, what a game!
Just nuts.
It's great to see him have that kind of success, and hopefully it will buy him some goodwill. But if his playoff performance, Kurt, if his playoffs the last 2 years haven't bought him the goodwill of most other fans, like of fans who are not convinced about him,
Yeah.
nothing will. Is
I
my
agree with that.
position. So, and that's fine.
Yep.
And this is part of the fun, of course, of hockey. We all have our strong opinions about different players. And
Fun and
Bruce always
frustration.
accused me of being a little soft on Bouchard in the grading, and he may be right. Like,
And you have critics, eh? You accused you of being soft in Bouchard. I accuse you of being hard on Draisaitl. It's
oh yeah,
you.
Bruce would accuse me of being, and I'd accuse Bruce of being soft on Draisaitl.
Too fun.
Yes, we both had like an off the record conversation one day, and I said because we do it every game, Bruce and I back and forth,
Yep.
grading these players and trying to get it right. So finally I said, Bruce, is there a player that you think I'm soft, like easy on? And he said yes. And then I also told him what I thought. So we both, had a laugh. All right,
I think
Kurt.
that's great. I think often if the fans of the cult of hockey only knew some of the conversations that go on behind the scenes, like we don't do much by the seat of our pants. There's a lot of thought and discussion and back and forth.
Oh man, yeah. Well, even now, every game as I'm grading, I hear Bruce's voice in my head, like in his interpretation, and I change my views on many things because of Bruce's input
Yeah.
over the years. Okay, Kurt, bad thing. Go ahead.
I could have picked a couple of things. I almost went with Connor Ingram because I didn't like the second goal, and the third goal just stunk. But you know what? Connor Ingram's been awfully good. By my count, at least 7, maybe 8 of his starts since he's come up from Bakersfield have been quality starts. So I kind of didn't feel on yarding on him tonight, even though that certainly was not his best performance. So instead, I've decided to yard on Darnell Nurse. And there's some context with which I want to talk about Darnell Nurse tonight, because Darnell Nurse did some good things tonight, including that great big block shot on Dylan Strome, which was just a terrific play and saved a goal. Right, but there were twice tonight where I just kind of shook my head at Darnell, and the first one was the 1-1 goal, where it's a 3-on-2 for Washington coming in Edmonton's end, but it's still in the neutral zone, and Darnell Nurse, for some inexplicable reason, decides, I'm going to try and stand this guy up at the blue line on a 3-on-2. So he totally skates out of position and goes into the middle. Totally surprises Leon Draisaitl, because that's the guy that Draisaitl is back checking to, right? So Darnell goes to that guy completely out of position. Now Draisaitl has to change his flight path and chase after the other guy who's now the puck carrier. Darnell's out of position. Bing, bang, boom. It's 1-1. Would have you liked Draisaitl to knock down the pass from the wall? Sure, but that play doesn't happen if Darnell doesn't lunge in the neutral zone. It set the whole cycle of pain going.
It did, the sequence of pain.
Yeah. Then I want to fast forward later in the game to the 5-4 goal. And there's a subtly different comment that I want to make here. First of all, I want to point out that Tristan Jarry made 3 saves on that play before the 4th shot attempt went in. You certainly couldn't blame Jarry on the play. But there's Darnell Nurse. I mean, God bless him. He's trying. I don't fault Darnell's effort. He puts great effort into every game. But there he is down on his hands and knees. The guy's 6'4.5". At the end of the day, that goal was scored because it was Connor McMichael, right, who scored the 5-4. Had 4, David, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 shots at that puck before it finally went in. And there's Darnell on his hands and knees. You're one of the biggest, meanest guys on the ice. It's not that I think that defensemen shouldn't go down from time to time. Hell, I did it when I played defense, and I played, decent hockey, but not at the NHL level. But every time that Darnell goes down, I think he's giving up height and weight and size on his opponents. And he's almost always the biggest guy with the longest reach in every one of those matchups. And I think every time he goes down, he's making himself smaller, and I just don't think it's to his advantage. Was it a horrible play to try and corral that puck to safety? No, I mean, he had the team's best efforts at heart. But when you're Darnell Nurse, stand up big and tall in front of the net and be imposing. And if they beat you that way, then they've beat you at your strength instead of making yourself small on plays like that.
I'm gonna have to watch it again, Kurt, because I'm not so. But I'll just tell you, my initial impression of it was that I just thought he, in the initial shot from the outside, that he, in the battle for that shot, he fell down rather than trying to fall down himself. I just thought he fell down and went in the battle, not advertently, but inadvertently. And then when he was down, the puck was there and he was trying to cover it up. So I just thought it was literally kind of a bang bang playing where he got knocked over and then tried to make up for it. He still lost the battle if he got knocked over.
You're soft on Darnell Nurse.
I don't think I'm soft on Darnell Nurse.
Neither you nor I are. No. You and I both are longtime defenders of Darnell's. It's just, but that's my key point, right? Which is every time he's down, he's giving up height and weight and reach on practically every guy that he's facing. Where's the benefit?
You know, that first goal, I want to just make a quick comment. The one you talked about where Nurse, and he did, like, why did he do that? Why did he bite up high? Because then he throws everything off and he didn't. Mm-hmm. The problem is, the fundamental problem is, I think, and I've said this for years, I just wish the Oilers had a checking line they could put out at the end of a period to kill the final 40 seconds. Leon Draisaitl's line is many things, but it is not a great defensive line. And they are thinking offense. They're thinking offense. And in that play, both Mangiapane and Draisaitl got in too deep. So there's kind of a 3-on-2 situation that develops. And Mangiapane, Podkolzin's gone in first to forecheck. Second he goes in there, the other two guys should be thinking, oh, let's hang back here. Like, the last thing we want is a goal against in the last 30 seconds of the period. But both of them get a little high. Louis said all three got high in the broadcast. I thought Podkolzin should get in there on the forecheck. But
Mangiapane was the last man back in the play.
Yeah, he was, I know, because he went forward when he should have been going backwards.
Yeah.
And I didn't like either he or Drive. You don't play it safe. And if you had a unit, their goal is just to go out there, like put Lazar, Frederick, and Janmark out there in the final minute. I just think it would be get those guys a little more ice time, give them a purpose, and they could get that job done.
I'm never going to have trouble with putting Leon Draisaitl on the ice at any point in any phase of any game. I just categorically disagree with that point. And Vasily Podkolzin, while he's not a perfect defensive player, he's damn solid. So I don't think I can. I don't see it your way.
Yeah, I just. Might be the old Habs fan in me thinking of Bob Gainey and Doug Jarvis shutting down every period. You know, they had Guy Lafleur and Lemaire and Shutt. They had great players they could put out, but they put out the checkers. And there's guys who can check.
See, I didn't really fault Draisaitl on that play. He got back in the play. The only reason he didn't get back to his man is because Darnell Nurse veered into that guy. That was the guy that Leon was tracking to.
Yes.
Then he had to pick a different track and follow the guy that Darnell should have been on. Like it all keyed with Darnell's decision. And as we've said so many times about him, when he tries to do too much, it backfires, and it did on that play.
There he was doing it again. The third goal against Ingram, it went in off Stastny's shin pad. Like that was a pretty tough play. Like, so I didn't.
Stinker of a goal. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. That has to be stopped every time. It was a narrow deflection. It was a bad angle. It was from distance. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't forgive Connor Ingham. Connor Ingham's been really good since he's come up, and I give him a lot of credit. Not on that goal. That's 100% on him. I didn't like the second one either. It just wasn't great.
I didn't like the second one. I thought the third one, well, it hits the defenseman's
I thought the third one. If you did a poll of fans tonight, David, I bet you 9.5 out of 10 would say that third goal stunk.
Oh, they probably would, but would they blame Stastny or would they blame Ingram?
Oh, I don't know anybody who would blame Stastny over Ingram on that play.
I would.
That's a stoppable puck. I don't even think
I
it's a
blame
debate.
Stastny. Um, all right. Uh, my bad thing. So you were talking about that goal, Kurt. I thought actually on the final two goals, um, but especially of Washington, they both came on point shots. Let me just go to my were they both power? Yeah, one was at the end of a power play. Both were on the power play. Matthias Janmark is out there. The first one's Stastny was screening the goalie, so it's a tough play. It's an outside shot. Sometimes it
Yeah, I
happens.
agree with that. Yep.
Janmark kind of gets caught between the two defenders, passing it back and forth. It wasn't
Mhm.
egregious. I think the last one, the fourth goal, was a really bad mistake from Matthias Janmark because there's a guy at the point who gets the puck on the up near the blue line along the boards. He's no threat to score, and Janmark charges right over to him.
Hmm.
You should charge over. My understanding of the PK is if you think you have a good chance to win the puck, if there's a bobble, or if the guy is in any position to get the pass, or you're reading it and you think, I've got a, let's say a 70% chance of winning that puck. That's when
Yes.
you go. That's
It
when you're
has to be a
super
better than
aggressive.
50-50 puck.
Yeah. And
Yep.
that wasn't even close. He was just super aggressive, hyper, and went over, chased the puck, and then the puck gets thrown back to the middle of the ice. And the shooter has all kinds of time then to unleash a very hard shot towards the goalie. And not only that, because Janmark's hauled himself way out there to the blue line and is running around out there, there's no chance for him to collapse back and help out. Because Nurse actually had a guy in front of the net who he was battling, and that's why he fell. And then McMichael's the extra guy, and Janmark's the forward on that side. If he hadn't been running around, if he had been playing down lower, holding his position, maybe he would have, by the, as you say, the fourth shot, maybe Janmark would have been on him and
Yep.
taken him out of the play.
Yeah, good
So
point.
I really thought Matthias Janmark blew that. And he is a good penalty killer, generally
No,
speaking.
normally, yes.
But I didn't like that play.
Fair enough.
Kurt, your number.
My number is 392. When Connor McDavid scored his goal tonight, his first goal, that was number 392 of his NHL career, and his 392nd and as an Edmonton Oiler ties Mark Messier. Anytime you equal an Edmonton Oilers record held by Mark Messier, you're doing something.
It's amazing, right? It's
Yep.
amazing. These guys, Messier played a long time with the Oilers,
Mhm.
11 or 12 years, and he such a fantastic hockey player. And now we have another guy who's like Messier in a lot of ways. He's not as nasty, but plays that huge power game like Messier played.
Fire in his eyes, right?
Yes, Leon can get stoked.
Yeah.
And he was tonight after he got that penalty that he didn't think was a penalty.
I didn't think it was either.
Well, it's hard, it's tough because from the referee's viewpoint, he might have just seen the hit of a player who didn't have the puck and called it. But it was inadvertent from Draisaitl, obviously.
100%. That's what bothers me about some calls by NHL referees is they think they saw something, so they called it. How be you call something when you know you've seen it? Just a thought.
Kurt, so that, excuse me, my number is 9, and it has to do with that incredible shift at the end of the game, which I think after this podcast is over, I'm going to go back and watch again
Good
and
idea.
enjoy it.
Yeah, I like that.
Without the sinking feeling in my stomach as I watch it this time, but knowing what's coming at the end. It started McDavid's. Let me just go find this again.
A lot of points to that play. I turned to my wife as that play was going on and said, I can't imagine David making the notes during the shift because he must have run out of paper.
McDavid was out for 209 on that shift, Kurt. So he went out there at with 2:41 left in the game. McDavid went onto the ice, and the first shot was at 2:22. So the 9 refers to the total number of shots directed at net by the Oilers in that, let's say, 2-minute flurry of activity. And almost all of it was in the Capitals' end. There were 4 shots on net. There were 3 blocks, and there was 2 missed shots. There were so many dangerous looks in that sequence, Kurt. Like, there was only 2 of the shots that got through, I thought, were 5 alarm shots. There was McDavid had one, and then there was the goal. But there was just unbelievably dangerous looks throughout that by, all the players on the ice. It was an incredibly dominant, high skill, high wire act. It was fantastic. It was Oilers hockey at its best. It's why this team, even though they're still under real 500, has a chance to win the Stanley Cup, because that level of skill, if you can complement it with adequate play from the bottom 2 lines and, let's say, good, not even great defensive play and good goaltending, you can win the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I still think this team can win the Stanley Cup. They've been playing great hockey for almost 2 months now. For 2 months
on and off, I'd say they have.
Yeah, it's been pretty overall. It's there's been some bad games,
right?
And tonight it looked like they might get goalied again, but because they've been goalied 2 or 3 times in this run of play.
Yes, to be fair, they have. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one explanation for the record, but that was just unreal. That was so great. And, the highlight, it's probably Bouchard keeping the puck in, and then the goal itself, which was off a shot, and Nugent Hopkins gets the puck on the boards. He made a really nice cross-seam pass to Bouchard, and they're all so calm out there. He just gives it over to McDavid, who then puts it over to Hyman, who slams it in. And when you watch it, it just seems like they're moving quite slowly in a way on that particular play. I think everybody on the ice was exhausted at that point. No need to rush, perhaps, but they were very calm as they scored that goal. And Hyman made a great play going to the net. Hyman actually screened the first 2 shots that Bouchard shot into the net. Like he had a great game.
He did.
With his net he is such a great hockey player. Again, why he's not on Team Canada is beyond every Oilers fan on earth. I think there's whereas with Bouchard, there's let's say 60 to 70% of Oilers fans think he should be on Team Canada, and 30 are adamant that he shouldn't. But with Hyman, it's 100. It's almost like it's got to be 100%.
Probably 99%, right? Yeah.
99. There's always one.
Right. Yeah.
Just like I have one friend who's always saying they should trade McDavid. Anyway, I won't go further on that. Kurt, final thoughts? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I have a handful of them. Standings wise, you know what? This is the 3rd team in a row that was playing the second of back-to-backs on the road. Washington won in Calgary the night before, and the Oilers failed to pick up a point in the previous 2 opportunities. It's pretty essential that they did tonight. Because they did tonight, they are just 2 points back of Vegas in the Pacific. Vegas has 62 points. The Oilers have 60. The Golden Knights have 3 games in hand. But if you lose this one tonight, now you're 4 points back, right? And that's a problem. So that's my note from a standing standpoint. From a player standpoint, they put good old Andrew Mangiapane up on in the top 6 tonight on the wing with Leon Draisaitl and Vasily Podkolzin. And all Andrew Mangiapane managed to do was 5-on-5 scoring chances, for and against 4 and 12, and high danger scoring chances 0 and 7. Please make it stop. Finally, because I want
good shot. He had one good shot there in the 3rd.
Yes,
Draisaitl set him up, but I didn't like his game. I gave him a 4. I didn't like, and it was a 3 until he had that good shot. But What is with him? Like
Yeah, I don't know.
if he wants to be traded, man, dig in and make some scout from another team notice you.
Yep. Finally, from a broadcasting standpoint, I just want to throw a bouquet out to Jack Michaels tonight. That was probably the best. The end of the game and the overtime was probably the best hockey play-by-play I've heard this season. There's a lot of things I like about Jack, including Jack's a really nice guy. But what he has that many other quality play-by-play guys or women don't have is he has that fifth gear. He can reach another level and then maintain that level over a course of time. He just has boundless stores of energy when the game is on the line. And I just thought it was a spectacular call tonight. And Jack said to me once in a very nice way, he said, I'll never get tired of you pumping my tires, Kurt. So here's me pumping Jack's tires tonight. I thought that was a world-class call of both the tying goal and the winning goal.
And you're not alone. On Hockey Night in Canada after the game, all of the panel, Bieksa and the others were talking about what a great job that Jack Michaels did there. And that is, he in those moments, he is spectacular.
Yep.
It would be great if he did the Olympics with Team Canada.
Yes, it would.
It's taken him a long time, right? Like he wasn't everybody's favorite flavor, shall we say?
And he's paid his dues, right?
Yeah.
Like he worked in a lot of shitty rinks and in a lot of shitty leagues before he got here, right? Like he didn't just fall into this job, so which I always respect.
Took Hockey Night in Canada a long time to warm up to him, but he fought through it. So it just shows keep at it, keep fighting.
I think his birthday was just yesterday, so happy birthday, Jack.
You will be recognized. All right, I'd like to say that I thought there was a few defensive blunders by Roslovic, but on the attack, the third line is a dangerous line.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
Those guys, I thought it was Matthew Savoy's one of his best games. I gave them all sixes, I think, but because again there wasn't a goal, but there was lots of good moments. There was some really good passing. And Ike Howard can flat out attack. And Savoy, when he's with Ike Howard, also really attacks well. Just makes me wonder, like if you had, the first line wasn't really going for the first couple periods at all, and it might be time to try Roslovic on line one and Nugent Hopkins between Savoy and Ike Howard. Just see how it goes for a couple games. McDavid hadn't scored in two games. He did come on and get a lot of points, but it really wasn't normal time play that the good stuff happened. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Roslovic is such a fantastic attacking hockey player. He's so good with the puck. I just think he would be great with McDavid and Hyman. And Nuge has that defensive presence that Roslovic lacks. But I started to, like, for the first time, let's say, I saw a line. I saw two wingers in Savoy and Howard who might be able to compete in the playoffs together on the same line. Well, if they have the right center.
It's an interesting observation because on a night like this, you're playing the Washington Capitals, who lines 1 through 4, they're a big, tough team.
Yeah.
And going into this game tonight, I wonder how that third line will make out against the Capitals tonight, because they're a handful, right? They're a big, tough veteran team. But I didn't see them struggle with size at all. And if anything, I think they used their speed to their advantage, and that was their secret sauce. I think you and I both agree Jack Roslovic is simply a better winger than a center, and that's not a criticism. That's really praise about how quality of an NHL winger he is. And his 5-on-5 play in his history, including last year in Carolina, is really excellent, right? So while I'm not in a hurry to break up that first line, your point is taken. I don't disagree with your observation. And if you put a real solid veteran defensive guy, predictable guy like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Savoy and Howard, that might be the ticket that you're looking for. I think in a Stanley Cup run, unless they trade for a third line center, Nuge is going to end up there anyway. So maybe the time is soon.
That's the reality of it. I mean, Bob Stafford has said he doesn't think there's a center available. He also said earlier he didn't think goalies were available, and there's goalies available. So sometimes things change, Kurt, and we'll see. It will be. It's going to be a major hoop for Stan Bowman to jump through to find the cap space and the assets to trade for the right player. And it's increasingly difficult, it seems, to move Andrew Mangiapane, and they've got to move him to get the cap space, to have any hope of getting the cap space, honestly, so they could acquire, if the player's more expensive, if he's more than $1 million a year. Like, they don't have any cap space. When Henrique comes back, that's a $4 million player. Where's the cap space? You know, it's just not there. They're going to have to jump through a hoop to bring Henrique back. It's a major hoop to get through. And then to make a trade on top of that, this is very, very difficult, but it's his job. That's Stan Bowman's job.
That's why he gets the big bucks.
And, you know, there's a chance when Kapanen comes back that they've got their players together and they just have to mix them the correct way. That they will use whatever capital they have in terms of trading, making a trade for a defenseman, which I think is actually a bigger, personally, if Kapanen plays well, that's where you make a trade.
You and I see it similarly. I think we both think that the bigger get would be a defenseman. But as I understand it, the Oilers pro scouts met last week, and their focus was on middle six. Like
that's what's been reported, right? Like by the insiders. So that could be the case. But you just listen. They're watching. Stan Bowman is watching the games. He's a very sharp hockey mind, and one would think a few players accepted a sharp judge of talent. Like I don't understand the Frederick decision, and I'm starting to question the Mangiapane one. Like, but he's made so many good moves, Stan Bowman, and found so many players with talent.
Primarily in season, right? That has been his strength.
Just all those young players he brought in too, like from Hudson to Szymanski, the European guys he brought in. Like, he's restocked the farm system. If they have to make a trade, Kurt, they've got some players on the farm, and it will hurt to trade to make a trade, let's say, of some of those players.
Yeah.
But that's what it might come to this year, because
do you want to win the cup or not?
Do you want to win the cup or not?
Yeah.
And you blew it. Let's say you blew it with Mangiapane and Frederick. They're not going to help necessarily. Although I think Frederick on a fourth line still may help, but they're not going to help a lot, and they're a bit definitely overpriced. But what are you going to do? Just sulk? No, you have Connor McDavid, Evan Bouchard, Leon Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman in their absolute primes. Mm-hmm. How long does that last? You have no idea. This could be it. For all of them, like and Ekholm. Some of them are getting a little older.
Yeah, Ekholm and Nugent Hopkins. Like it's
You've got to go for it. Yep. You've got to go for it. So I wouldn't
agree more.
There might be a painful trade that will have the people who love the Oilers prospects, especially, right? Like there's some people who fall in love with the young players and just are mad about them. They're not going to be happy, I have a feeling, Kurt.
What's that Kenny Rogers lyric? Don't fall in love with a dreamer. It's like
You know what? I was that fan for a long time. I was just not so crazy about the younger players and, their potential and what they, their offensive potential and what they might bring and the brand of hockey they might play and the attacking style, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, okay, bring in an old defenseman who can clobber.
Just win, baby.
It's just
win.
Just win, because I see that glaring need on their blue line.
Yeah.
And I was surprised not to see Regula tonight.
Yeah, I thought there'd be a couple times where he might get in. This may be a sign that they just don't see him as the six.
You may be correct.
They're sure giving Stastny a run through middle and play at best, I would say.
Yeah, at best.
Right.
He had another iffy night tonight. Anyway.
Agreed.
All right, Kurt. It's a late night. Let's leave it there. Thank you for talking.
Thanks, Dave.
And thank you to the smartest, sharpest, sanest hockey fans in the world. Edmonton Oilers fans, cult of hockey listeners and readers. And in the meantime and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.